Hi, I'm Lyndsey, and today we're going to be taking a bit back with a movie you may have grown up with, but your parents definitely grew up with, The Neverending Story. This movie is so beautiful and made with so much love, it really deserves a watch if you haven't seen it already. Until then though, here's a semiotic analysis. The Neverending Story follows Bastian through his journey of grief after losing his mother. The situation is introduced with a scene depicting just how uninvolved Bastian's father is with the pain in Bastian's mind and heart. The boy's father is dismissive, acting like he and his son have not just experienced a tragedy, and urges Bastian to move on.
We can't let Mom's death be an excuse for not getting the old job done, right?
We then learn that on top of this, Bastian is a victim of the bullies at his school, who find the sensitive and quiet boy to be an easy target. He does not stand up for himself, and eventually we see him escape into a bookstore. Here, Bastian meets the owner, and the book in the man's hands catches his eye, only to be told,
"Forget about it. This book is not for you."
However, the man knows what he is doing, and he intentionally encourages Bastian's curiosity and lets him get away with taking the book. When Bastian begins to read The Neverending Story, he is almost immediately immersed into the world of Fantasia. Quickly, Bastian is introduced to Atreyu, a boy his age tasked with a quest to save the childlike empress, who is the life-giving force of Fantasia. If he fails, the fantastical land will fall to the nothing, which has already begun to consume it. Atreyu accepts the quest along with its conditions, going alone and going without weapons. This is a mirror of Bastian's experience with losing his mother, as he is alone and has nothing to protect him from his feelings. Atreyu sets off on his horse Artaz, wearing the childlike empress's auron around his neck, an adaptation of the ancient Ouroboros symbol depicting a snake eating its tail in representation of the never-ending cycle of life and death. It is told that the auron will guide and protect Atreyu on his adventure. Soon we come to what is one of the most sadly memorable scenes for those who grew up watching The Neverending Story, as Atreyu and Artaz must travel through the Swamp of Sadness. The Swamp of Sadness is a reflection of Bastian's feelings and what they could become if he continues to dwell only in the negative. Atreyu conquers the feelings given to him by the swamp, but his horse does not. The boy mourns the loss of his friend, as does Bastian, but Atreyu knows he must move on. This portion of the story is the beginning of Bastian's own healing. Atreyu goes on to meet Morla while still under the sadness of losing his horse. Morla is ancient and wise. She says she knows how to help the childlike empress, but she does not bother sharing, and has simply accepted the fact that the nothing will consume her along with the rest of Fantasia.
Die? That at least would be something.
Morla is a representation of Bastian's father, with his dismissive attitude toward the pain his son feels after the loss of his mother. Like Atreyu, Bastian is in need of support, but the wiser adult in his life is not emotionally there for him. Morla is eventually of some benefit though, directing Atreyu to the Southern Oracle, only to then share that it is 10,000 miles away. With this new perspective on just how impossible saving Fantasia is from the nothing, Atreyu is overcome by the Swamp of Sadness. Just in time though, his luck changes. Enter Falkor, a luck dragon out to help the young warrior, and might I add, quite possibly the best puppet design in the history of puppet designs. But then this apparently happened, so yeah. But anyway, Falkor rescues Atreyu and sees that he is brought back to physical and emotional health. In stark contrast to Morla, Falkor brings calm and assured wisdom, and represents an adult who will listen and mentor. While Falkor could have easily taken Atreyu directly to the Southern Oracle, he did not, on account of knowing that the boy is capable of accomplishing the final tests and deserves a chance to learn that about himself.
You've already brought me the entire 10,000 miles?
No, only 9,891.
Atreyu confidently sets forth to cross the Sphinx Oracle, which only allows those that know their own worth to pass, and kills those who are tripped with self-doubt. He almost makes it without disturbing the Sphinx, but in the end, only barely escapes their rays. This could be Bastian's own lack of confidence in himself showing through Atreyu as Bastian becomes more and more present in the story he is reading. He even initially doubted Atreyu simply for being a little boy, projecting his own troubles onto a character he admires. Next, Atreyu is tested by the magic mirror gate, where he learns just how present Bastian really is in the Neverending Story. It is said that here one's reflection shows their true self, but in this reflection, Atreyu sees Bastian sitting, reading his book. In a sense, Bastian is the one giving life to Atreyu, allowing his story to play out as he reads the book, and is living and changing through Atreyu. The warrior ventures on, finally arriving to the Southern Oracle, where he learns that the cure against the Nothing taking over Fantasia is giving the childlike Empress a new name. Only a human child must be the one to give it to her. As the Nothing begins to engulf more and more of Fantasia, Atreyu finds himself face to face with its counterpart, Gmork. While the Nothing represents emotional emptiness that comes with mourning death, Gmork represents death itself and introduces himself as a servant to the Nothing.
I am the servant of the power behind the Nothing.
He tries to kill Atreyu, but instead is the one who dies. Despite Gmork's death, though, the Nothing still succeeds in destroying Fantasia. Once again, Falkor comes to Atreyu's rescue, and together they find the childlike Empress with guidance from the Auron. Atreyu is convinced that he has failed, but the Empress explains that there is still hope, as Bastion is present with them. Bastion is torn between following what seems to be his imagination or obeying the words of his father.
Now, Bastion, you're old enough to get your head down out of the clouds and start keeping both feet on the ground, right?
Just in time, though, he gives the Empress her name. The ending of the story, which is very ironic to say, forces Bastion to acknowledge his mother and speak her name, giving it to the childlike Empress. While the name seems very insignificant in comparison to the size and impact of the Nothing, it is made significant by the power names can hold. Bastion let the names others called him define aspects of himself for the negative. Having been the one to save it, Bastion is given the opportunity to rebuild Fantasia and restores it to its original wonder. This is an abstract representation of the idea that even though Bastion's mother is no longer physically with him, he is capable of keeping her memory alive and present in his heart. Like the Auron symbolizes, the cycle of life and death creates a never-ending story, and Bastion learns that even though dark things do happen, light always circles back around and he can always build on hope. This is such an iconic movie, not only for the creative visual aspects, but also for the thought and intentional symbolism behind every little detail. I totally see how it can be a little strange to some people, or a little outdated to others, but if you are one of those people lacking in good taste, I hope you can at least walk away from this with a little extra appreciation for all of the symbolism and meaning behind the Neverending Story. Until next time!